All right, we are back with a very quick deck tech. This isn't going to be super in depth, but I'm just going to show you kind of an updated shell for one of my favorite decks, and that is Rusty Reanimator. Excuse me. Oh man, Rusty Reanimator. Um, we are running it in Naya colors for historic Pauper on Arena because obviously Exhumed does not exist online, so we can't run it in black. So our reanimation spell is going to be late to dinner. Um, we are going to be looking to get Russ Goliath into the yard. How are we going to do that? Through Bitter Reunion, and recently we've got Faithless Looting. Gosh, I wish I had a different art of this, but that's the only one I have, and I don't need to. I gotta save my common wild cards for other things. So until we get rich, that's the art we're stuck with. Barf. But it does the job. So we want to get our Rust Goliath into the yard. We want to reanimate him with late to dinner, and then we want to just get to attacking with big creatures. Our ambitious Dragonborn acts as our other 10/10 in this list. So gives us really big bodies and just want to try and punch through. Krosan Tusker and Greater Tanuki are decent sized creatures, and get them into the yard. You can turn your Dragonborn into a 6/6. Not the greatest, but it's okay. And help make sure that you're hitting lands, accelerating mana. The reason why we split 2/2 is to make sure that it doesn't interfere with our Faceless Agent pulls, because anytime we want to pull Faceless Agent, we want to make sure that we're getting Rust Goliath. Um, I'm going to have to play with it a little bit. Again, this is just a shell. It may be better to trim one of the Dragonborns and put in a second agent. I don't know. I'll have to mess with it and kind of see how it goes, because Rust Goliath is still really kind of the main crux of the deck, and there's times that um, you don't get your Rust Goliath early enough, and things kind of fall apart. We're going to protect it a little bit with safekeeping. We have a Cloud Shift in there, because it does give it a little bit of protection when being targeted. It also, however, lets us play off the prototype ability. So in a pinch, I can hard cast this thing for 5. If I've accelerated my mana out a little bit, great. I hard cast it for 5, and then cloud shift it over to its 10/10 version. So that's also another way to go about it. And then we fill it out with Greater Sandworm. It can cycle itself. A 7/7 that can't be blocked by 2 power creatures is pretty relevant in this format, so that's a pretty solid card on its own. And then we get Cleansing Wildfire to help us kind of accelerate our mana a little bit, draw cards, filter out the library, and obviously we're running 9 bridges. So that's what the deck looks like at its basic core components. There's a lot of things that you can consider to kind of help yourself out. Knot of the Bone, a new card to Arena, is helpful for life gain. I'll probably be crafting those and getting them at the very least in the sideboard, because that does give you a little life gain to play with, and you are putting a good amount of creatures into the yard. I mean, you don't have a ton, like it's not super creature heavy, but you do get creatures into the yard at a pretty good frequency. Um, and that little bit of life gain that you're going to get from Na is pretty helpful. Plus, it's a card that you can discard away to dig a little bit deeper and still get value out of later. So that is a good consideration there. Also, you could potentially do Goblin and Archomancer. The red green reduces the cost of your red and green spells. Since your deck is mostly red and green, you're going to get a cheapened cost on your flashback for Faithless Looting. You're going to get a cheaper cost on most of your green creatures. That may be helpful. I don't know. We might be able to squeeze some more space out of it and see how that goes. Sideboard, we'll probably looking at things like End Festivities, Life Gain, Flourishing Hunter, Blazing Volley. I think I went pretty hard on sweepers. I got some Raking Claws in there. Maybe better to put something like Teamer Battle Rage, because it does give trample and double strike, and that's one of the big pitfalls I think of the deck, is when you have a Dragonborn sitting at 10/10 and you can't punch through. So I think ultimately, when you're talking about combo shell of this, you're probably going to lean into those. Maybe pull out the safekeepings, maybe pull out the cloud shifts, and you just want to go as fast as possible, and just rip to that Teamer Battle Rage or Raking Claws and just punch through for lethal in one big swing. So those will be some kind of things that we work with. The problem is I think that people are running really robust removal in the format, so you'll get a big dude out and it's likely going to get removed. You'll get exiled. There's a lot of things that can disrupt you. So again, I wouldn't call this a super competitive deck, but I mean, it's fun. And that's what we want to just kind of focus on when I'm doing a quick little deck tech. Just a fun little update to the deck. That's kind of the starting point. Feel free to explore and try it out. But that's kind of where the deck is now for starters. I hope you like it, and hope we get back with another video soon. Maybe something a little bit more on the competitive side for you.